Welcome back to the Book Nook. I hope you're having a lovely day. Things look a little bit different. That's because my husband built me a new computer and now I have a desk and I love it because I can sit here and do my Bible study and just have an official place to work. So I'm really happy about that. Today we're going to be talking about what I read in the month of July. And I pretty much completed my summer TBR. So now we're moving into fall. And I don't know if any books are rolling over exactly, but either way, we're going to talk about what we read. And then I'm going to do another video right after this and tell you about what I'm going to read in the month of August. So that will actually probably have gone up before this video. So if you didn't get that video, you should watch that video because I am very sure it's going to be good. Well, I am excited about that TBR. So let's get started on what we read in the month of July, okay? So I'm going to go off my Goodreads. I, again, did not write a script. So this is going to be a little bit unscripted. And yeah, I'm just going to go off my Goodreads and say yes, no, maybe, and maybe talk a little bit about it because I do have a couple books I want to talk more about than others. So in the month of July, I don't even know, we'll keep a count, I guess, or whatever. I'll put a count in here of how many books I actually read. Okay. Because I say actually because of the simple fact that I did DNF a few. Okay. I'm going to be very honest with you. Okay. Okay. So we started off the month by finishing our first book on the 5th of the month, which is funny because I just finished my first book of August last night. And actually, I finished two books and they're both on the 5th. So that seems to be a little running thing. The first one was The Radar Girls by Sarah Ackerman. I gave this 4 stars. This was a really good book. I really loved it. It talked about a lot about the World War II and in the Pacific at Hawaii, and these girls were like air traffic controllers for the military after the attacks on Pearl Harbor. Yes, I would say absolutely read this. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. Great little historical fiction. Okay, the next one is The X by Alifair Burke. I found this on Libby and thought it looked interesting. And it's funny because I read another book, The X, I think of this month as well, and that was my Frida. But or maybe that was last month. I think it was this month. Anyways, regardless, this book I gave it 4 stars. It was a thriller. I kind of did see though the ending a little bit. I did see the ending somewhat of the ending coming. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Yes, it's good. It's yes. Okay. The next one is Shaping History Through Prayer and Fasting. And this is by Derek Prince, and he has passed on. And I'm going to say 5 stars is really good. If you want to learn about prayer and fasting, this was a really good book. Okay, the next one I read was The Ending Writes Itself. And yes, I gave this a 5 stars. Now, I will say this reminded me very much of the Agatha Christie book, Then There Was None. Okay, I felt like it was very much like a modern day twist on that. So yes, it was very good. You don't know who's who and what's what until the end. And yes, is a great like kind of psychological thriller a little bit. Okay, so this one I did read, The X by Frida McFadden. Um, it's so funny. Like when I see the picture of this book, and I'll put it up here, it looks like a little like baby, but it's actually somebody looking into a thing. This was really good. I honestly I gave this 4 stars and I feel like I should have given it 5. So yes, I'm gonna say you should read it. I did not see the ending coming. It was kind of a twisty like thing. She kind of this twisty thing where it was an unreliable narrator, I guess is what you would say. And it was really good though. I was like, I did not see this coming. It was really good. It was a true to true Frida McFadden. Okay, the next one that I read was My Friends by Frederick Botman, and I gave this 5 stars. Now, I'm going to say this. Um, it was heart-wrenching. I love Frederick Botman and the way that he writes his characters. You just really get to know these people really in depth, and I really enjoyed this story. And it's a dual timeline. It's a man telling a story, and then you're also following a young girl. Really, really good. I gave it 5 stars. I am a real big Frederick Bachman fan. Okay, The next one is I Told You So by Macy Neely. And she is on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Utah. Her sister will be on the California version that they are, the LA version of that they are launching soon. Um, so I gave this 5 stars, but I want to talk about this a little bit because there were some things about this that I was like, really? This book, first of all, was put out by Simon and Schuster, which is a huge name in the book world, correct? And I'm like, did y'all even um, edit this book? Did y'all even go over this book? Did y'all proofread it? Because I get like, if I had, okay, so I actually read this book, and normally with biographies, I try to listen to them. This was not available to me to listen to, but it was available for me to get on Libby to read. So that's how I got it. Um, and maybe if I had been listening to her, I would have maybe not thought so much of what I was listening to, because when you're listening to books, sometimes I think that, but when you're reading them, you just expect a higher caliber, I guess, what I'm going to say about that. Um, okay, so some of the wording that they use for certain things, and I don't want to go into detail because I don't want to get flagged or anything like that. It was, um, the way that she described certain things was very, middle schoolish. I felt like a middle schooler would have read that. That's what a middle schooler would have called it. And she was explaining it from even from perspective of being a college student. Some of her terminology is very odd. Um, she used the word sus. I mean, my kid uses that word. I'm just like, this really made it into the book. I get it's her story, but I'm just like, you're a college graduate. You own a business. Um, I don't understand. Like, these two things do not register in in my mind. Yes, I gave it 5 stars. It is a very hard story, and I just want to say, the next one was Lord of Souls by Greg Keyes, and I gave this 4 stars. This is the second one to the other one, and I can't think of the name of it right now off the top of my head, but it's from the video game Skyrim. It's between, I think, the fourth and the fifth game. And it tells a story. It's a fantasy about this world and what's happening. And yeah, it's really good. It's the second. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail, but yes, I would say but I will say it is one of those books you do need to know a little bit more about it going into it. If you've played the video game, or somebody that played the video game and explained the world to you a little bit, that is very helpful. I do not think it's something that I could have just went into and understood everything. And even after I read it, there were certain things where I was like, I was talking to my son-in-law because it was a recommendation by him. And I was talking to him about it, and he was like, well, this is this and this. I was like, okay. And he goes, that really wasn't explained very well in the book. So it is one of those things where context is key in this situation. So yes, I would say if you're familiar with this world, or if you want to become familiar with this world and do some studying, there's a YouTube channel, I can think of the name of it, but and he does a lot of Elder Scroll, Skyrim lore kind of thing, and does a lot of explanation of that world. The next one is, my next, when I finished the Shaping History, I like to read a nonfiction every day, and in the morning. And the next one was 90 Minutes in Heaven, and I gave this 5 stars because it is his story. It's about a man in Texas, and he was in a terrible car accident, and he was literally dead for 90 minutes. He talks a little bit about heaven, but he also talks about his journey and being one of the first, because this was like in the late 80s, talking about his story about being in this contraption. I can't think of what it's called, that he calls it. And I can't think of the technical name either, but he talks about that and how he's been able to help other people through that, and how he struggled a lot. And he was very honest about his struggles. And I think that is very important, especially if you're a Christian. I think we have this idea that we shouldn't struggle, or we shouldn't doubt, or we shouldn't, you know, um, have these feelings. And I think these feelings are valid at times, but I also think what we do with those feelings is very important. And it was very important what somebody said to him, and things that people spoke in his life. And it was really a good story, more about going through trials than it was about, I'm sorry, I have a hair on my shirt or something. Anyways, more about the trials than than the heaven experience. Okay, which I thought was really good. The next one is You Deserve to Know by Angie Blum Thompson. Now, this was a thriller, and this was like Wisteria Lane. I felt like I was back in Wisteria Lane again. It's about a cul-de-sac of 3 homes and their families, and all this stuff is going on, and you kind of really don't know what's going on until the end. And it was really good. I definitely recommend. I gave it 5 stars. I did not see the ending coming. I really, really enjoyed that book because after reading The Lord of Souls, I tend to, both of those books for some reason put me into reading slumps, and I don't know why. I kind of, I don't, it's the strangest thing. I've never really been in one, but I think it kind of did. Okay, so the next one, I guess I read a lot of nonfiction this month. I listened to Hillbilly Elegy by, it's a memoir of culture and crisis, family and culture and crisis by J.D. Vance. Now, this, I think that everybody should listen to this book because, well, I say it because you get to see some of his mindsets and what he thinks and how he feels about things and why. And also, I just want to say there's one critique I have. But again, I don't like to critique people's stories, but this is about the writing. Okay, this is not about their story. We could have left out some of the language. The F bomb that was in the GDs and the all the other things. I guess he wrote another book about his faith and maybe everything. He's telling what, and he has a wild story. Don't get that wrong. Don't get that messed up. He really does. But yeah, I was just like, wow, we could have left some of that out. We could have left some of that out. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Mr. Vance. We could have left some of that out. But it was a crazy story and a pretty wild ride. And then I listened to Poems and Prayers by Matthew McConaughey. I'm going to be honest with you. Most of this, I was like, it went over my head. I'm not a real big poetry person. Some of it was really funny. Some of I really enjoyed. Some of the poems, I was like, I think if I had read them instead of listened to them, it maybe would have made a maybe better impact, or maybe if I'd listened to them on the road speed, but listen on 2 speed. So yeah, it was just something I saw and I wanted to read it and thought, well, I read Green Lights and really enjoyed that. So I thought, I'll read this. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars actually, because it's not a memoir. So I'm done my 5-star roll, but it is his poems and stuff. And yeah. And that's it. That was actually, ironically, the last book I finished. I was struggling for a while. I actually DNF'd a couple books. I soft DNF a book. I have since picked it back up. I have become very much, if something is not catching me right away, I'm like, I don't care. I started reading Ken. I didn't really care about that. Took that back. I started reading The Names. I also DNF'd that. I also started reading another book I'll put up here by Chris Boheen. I can't think of what it's called, but yeah, DNF that. So I DNF'd a lot of books this month. I don't know if I'll pick them back up. I think maybe I got pretty far into that. I just got to where I was like, I really don't care. And I don't know if that's a me problem or a book problem. It might very well be a me problem. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. Um, I don't know. I have a lot going on right now. And I think if something is not catching me, I'm like done with it. And that's just my attention span at this point in my life. And that's it. But I did finish my first 2 books, one on audio and one on my Kindle. And I'll be talking about that next month. But for now, this is it. And I hope you have a lovely day. And I will see you in the next one.